Hi everyone. What's up? What's up? Let's see. Joseph, what's up?
Hey Shay, how are you?
Good. How are you? How many are we expecting today? Any idea?
Lots.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we got 28 right now. So we'll wait like a minute. And while we wait, I got a little something.
Cool.
But yeah, I got a bunch of people popping in. So while we're waiting, if you guys are available to turn on your camera, I would really appreciate it. That way it's a lot easier for me to connect with you. And it's way more fun for me to stare at you and not myself or a black screen the whole time. So I'll kind of get into my story a little bit and what we're going to get into in a minute. But before we do that, while we're kind of waiting for everyone to pop in, just so I kind of know who I can be best friends with after this, I want to hear like who is your guys' favorite player. Put your favorite player in the chat box and let's see who I'm going to be best friends with. We'll see who gets it first.
Or you can direct chat.
Yeah, I just put in the chat box. Let's see.
Message you. Hey. How do you spell Lindsay Maharan?
Rose Lavelle, Lisa McNair, Roy Keane. No one's got, Roy Keane.
Did you do it?
Julie Ertz. I used to play against Julie Ertz. Kind of cool.
When was that?
I played against her when I was playing in club soccer. So when I was like 15, 16, I'm from Utah and she's in Arizona. So we would play against each other in tournaments. Let's see. No one said my favorite. Okay. Oh, there we go. Lily and Molly Tobin Heath. There we go. Avery Tobin Heath. Yay. Best friends, best friends. That was my number in college too. So number 17. All right, cool. So Joseph, what are kind of the age ranges we got going on today for the most part?
So we invited all the gals from our comp program, which goes up to U19. I invited some former Strikers alumni that are playing college ball right now.
Heck yeah.
And we also invited our girls from our academy program, which goes down to 8, 9 years old.
Beautiful. Okay, cool. Yeah, this will be super relevant no matter how old you are. College, youth, doesn't matter. So thank you guys for having me. My name is Shay and I'm going to keep letting people in. So if I get distracted, that's what I'm doing. My name is Shay and I empower girls like you from the age of like 10 all the way through college to build unshakable confidence so you can play and live to your full potential. So that's me. And again, thank you guys for having me. I'm super excited. Like I've been super excited for this. This is always the favorite part of my day is being able to talk to groups such as you guys. So I know that you guys are all here for a reason, right? Like we all understand that confidence is important. Yes, thumbs up if we all understand that. Yes, 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 yes. Okay. But the thing is that we don't always know why, or we don't always know how to become more confident, right? So that's exactly what we're going to talk about today. So my goal for you is to leave here with 3 solid strategies that you can start implementing right away and start feeling more confident both on and off the field. Does that sound good to you guys? Beautiful. Okay, cool. So what to expect today? So we'll go like, I think we scheduled it for like 45 minutes. So we'll go for 45 minutes to an hour if we need. I'm going to be like coaching you guys for about 30 minutes or so. I'm going to share my story and then we'll open it up and we'll do kind of some question and answer if you guys have any questions. If you have questions while we're talking, go ahead and just pop them in the chat box and I'll make sure I either get to them right then or I'll get to them after. And then, yeah, we'll just really hit kind of those three big strategies for how to become more confident. Cool. All right. So is it cool if I share my story with you guys? Yes. You guys are like, yes, share or no, please spare us. Okay, cool. So a little bit about me, guys, and just so that you know where I come from and why I'm doing this. So I grew up playing soccer, basketball from a very young age, as young as, you possibly can. But when I was 12, I actually tore my ACL. Raise your hand if you've ever torn your ACL. Anyone here? Or any big knee injuries? Okay, that's good. I'm not seeing any hands, so that's good. So I tore my ACL when I was 12, had surgery, at the age of 13. And before that happened, I was like really fast and I was like at the top of my game. I was one of the best on my team, a really awesome goal scorer. And I was just crushing it. But when I tore my ACL and I came back after 9 months of sitting out, it was like the hardest thing I've ever had to go through, both physically, the pain, but more so than that mentally. So when I stepped back on the field, I had lost all of my confidence, right? As you can imagine, my teammates were way ahead of me. They had been training, they had been working hard, and I was just kind of way behind, right? So I was slower, I was not as skilled anymore. So my confidence really took a dive. And I went from the point, and if you guys feel the same way, go ahead and type me in the chat box. But before games, like I was so nervous. I call it the pregame poops, when you have to go to the bathroom so bad because you're so nervous. Like that was me. Every time I stepped on the field, I would worry, okay, am I going to get yelled at? Is my coach going to yell at me? Is my dad going to yell at me? Am I going to let my teammates down? Am I going to mess up? And so every time I stepped on the field, I didn't even have fun anymore. I was just purely focused on not making mistakes. And like I said, I wasn't having fun anymore. And at the age of 15, I almost quit soccer completely. I remember before practice one day, I looked in the mirror and I was like, you know what, Shay, I hate this. Like I hate playing. And I got to that point because my confidence was so low. But my goal was to play college soccer. And so I was like, all right, I'm gonna give it one more go, because I was trying to get recruited and I hadn't got recruited yet. And so I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it one more go. I'm gonna go play at Surf Cup. I don't know if you guys know what Surf Cup is, but luckily at Surf Cup, I actually ended up getting recruited. I played college soccer at Virginia Commonwealth University, which is a D1 school in Virginia. And then I played at Utah State, which is where I'm from. And so anyways, my whole career up until my junior year, my confidence was like, good days, bad days, good days, bad days, right? And my junior year was the absolute worst year ever. Like I got hurt, lost my spot. And when I came back, I was blaming other people for me not playing. I wasn't having fun. I wasn't feeling confident. I wasn't doing anything I should have done. Okay. But luckily, senior year, I was like, all right, Shay, you got to get your stuff together, girl. You got one more year. And so you got to take control of your future. Stop blaming other people. Take control of your future. So I did just that. I trained my butt off. I started learning about sports psychology. I started learning about visualization. I started learning about the things that I'm going to teach you guys today. And that's what turned it around. My senior year was the best year of my career. I was scoring goals, which I usually don't do. I was voted team captain. I was voted most inspirational. So I was like doing all the things. Okay. So that's what I want to teach you guys, is how you guys can go from feeling self-doubt and feeling fear to like stepping into your power as a confident girl and as a confident player. Okay. So that's my goal for you guys today. So let's kind of get into it. So I got some little slides for you guys to look at, and we'll kind of ask you guys some questions as we go through this. So let me share my screen with you. All right. Everyone can see the screen with my face on there, and yeah. Okay, cool. I'm going to make it a little bit bigger so we can see it better. Boop. Okay, cool. So we already kind of went over this. So question for you guys. Okay, I want everyone to type in the chat box, a little poll. Okay, a little poll here. How much time do you spend working on your mental game, your confidence, your mindset? So I want you to put it in like a percentage. So do you spend 10% working on it? Do you spend 5% of your time? Do you spend 0%? What do you think? And this is obviously going to be a guess, but what do you think? How much percentage are you spending on your mental game? All right, here they come. 0, 15, 5, 20, 10, 15, 10, 10, 3, 10, 5, 17, 17 because of Tobin Heath, right? Naturally. All right, so we're probably sitting at about 10%, I'm going to say. Okay, and what I will say, guys, is I'd say that's pretty average. I would say that most girls, not girls, I'm going to say most youth athletes and even college athletes, most youth and college athletes are probably not working on their confidence or mental game for more than probably 10, 15% of the time. Okay. Raise your hand if you've ever heard the saying of soccer is 80% mental and 20% physical. Raise your hand if you've ever heard that before. Let me see. Okay. We got a few people who have heard that. Okay. So then why, if it's 80% mental and 20% physical, why are we only spending 10% on our mental game? Anyone have an answer for me? I didn't think so. Right. So that's kind of how I want you to think about this is I'm not saying you should spend 80% on your mental and 20% on your physical. I'm not saying that, but I'm saying it needs to be much more balanced if you want to be the most well-rounded player possible. Right. So just kind of think about how imbalanced it is. Okay. And so I want you guys to look at each of these questions right here and I'll read through them. And if you guys want to put them in the chat box, let's do it. But I'm going to read the question. If it sounds like you, put yes or no. Deal? Let's kind of make it fun here. So, do you hold back in games because you fear making mistakes? Just put yes or no. We're going to go through them real quick. Okay. There's my chat box. Okay. Next one. Do you shut down when you get yelled at or when you make a mistake? Do you shut down when you get yelled at or you make a mistake? Yeah, keep them coming. Okay. Do you worry too much about what others think of you? So whether it's your teammates, your friends, your coaches, your parents, do you care too much or worry too much? Okay, we're getting lots of yeses on that one. Okay, number 4, do you get anxious before games to where your stomach starts to hurt and you got to go find the bathroom? I can't tell you how many times I had to leave warm-ups to go find a bathroom. Not very fun. Okay. And then number 5, do you overthink your decisions and end up kind of like freezing on the field? You know, kind of freezing and be like, I don't know what to do. Yes. Kind of overthinking everything. Okay. And then the last one is, do you focus on the negative more than the positive? Do you focus more on the negative than the positive? This could be soccer related, life related, whatever. Okay. So if you guys look at the chat box, right? A lot of times when we talk about confidence, we think I'm the only one struggling with it. Yeah. But if you guys look at the chat box, look at how many yeses there are, like for all the different things. Not everyone, right? But I would guess that at least every single person on here said yes to at least one thing. If I'm wrong, you can tell me, but I would be very surprised if that was the case. Okay. So if you're feeling these ways, these are all kind of symptoms of you not feeling complete confidence. And even when you are super confident, there's still going to be times where you get nervous and still going to be times where you have negative and still going to be times where you fear mistakes. So it's not like these are ever going to go away, but we can develop tools and strategies to make them happen less and for our positive to be higher than the negative, if that makes sense. Yeah. All right, cool. So why does the mental game matter so much, right? Well, in my opinion, like I really believe that the only way that you can like truly be the best player while having the most fun possible is for you to work on your confidence. Okay, you can do all the training in the world and you can become such a talented player. And I see this. I work with girls that have 10,000 Instagram followers and they look like they're the best player in the world. But inside, there's something holding them back. And until that thing gets released, until they unlock their confidence, they're never going to be able to achieve their full potential. Okay, so it's so important, guys. Our bodies can handle a lot, but if our minds aren't on board as well, then it's really hard to get past those things. Okay, and the more you understand the importance of it, the more you can master it, the more you can work on it, the more you can separate yourself from the pack if you're trying to go playing college or pro or, whatever your big goals are. Okay. So let's get into it. Hey, I hope you guys have some notes. Okay. Because after this slide, we're going to get really deep into the how of stuff. So once you guys actually start working on your confidence more, okay, this is one of my players, Maddie. I've been working with her since February of last year. So about a year. But really, when you start doing the things that you need to work on your confidence, you're going to like stop letting those beliefs hold you back. You're going to step onto the field with more confidence. And also you're just going to be able to play way better, to be honest, right? You're going to take control over your own happiness, because honestly, I see a lot of girls who, if they aren't confident, they're not really that happy, and we all want to be happy, right? And you're going to be able to have more fun and stop worrying so much about mistakes and judgment and all that other stuff, right? So this is big time. So let's kind of dive into it. So I'm going to teach you, like I said, 3 of those strategies. So if you guys have notebooks, definitely grab them out. And if you guys have any questions, like I said, go ahead and just pop them into the chat box, and I will keep an eye on the chat box here. But these are going to help you, be able to play better, feel better, and have more fun. Okay. So the very first thing, the first thing is changing your internal dialogue. Okay. So what I mean by that is like the thoughts in your head, right? Like raise your hand here, and I can see everyone because I got you guys big. Raise your hand if you talk to yourself a lot. Oh yeah. Everybody talks to themselves, right? Like I think if you were to hear my thoughts, you would probably think I am crazy. And I am a little bit crazy. But if you were to see my thoughts, you'd be like, wow, she is crazy, right? And we all are kind of have these thoughts going. Actually, do you guys know how many thoughts we think per day? Any ideas? Put it in the chat box if you have a guess. How many thoughts do we think every single day to ourselves? Any guesses? It's too many zeros. 10, 100,000, I think that is. 10,000, 10,000, 20,000. So it's not quite a trillion or whatever that number is, Lily and Molly. It's been, obviously this is going to be different for everybody, but it's about 70,000 thoughts every single day. You are thinking 70,000 thoughts to yourself every single day. Okay. So whose voice do you think is the most powerful in your life? Is it your mom's? Is it your dad's? No, it's yours. Your own voice is the most powerful voice on the planet. So if you're being negative to yourself, do you think you're ever going to really become confident? Shake your head, yes or no. If you're negative, will you ever live a positive life? No, right? So you have to change the way that you talk to yourself. You got to change the way you talk to yourself. And I'm going to show you guys kind of a cool little strategy for this. But first, I want to point out this right here where it says thoughts, beliefs, and actions. Okay, so kind of how this works is we have thoughts that come into our head, lots of different thoughts, right? When we think a thought enough times, it becomes a belief. Okay, it becomes something that like we really, really believe at the core of our being is true. Okay, so if it's a negative thought, it's going to be a negative belief. And that negative belief is going to turn into either negative actions or inaction. So for example, let's say you have the thought of, man, I'm not good enough to be a starter. You just think that over and over and over again, right? Eventually you're just going to believe that you're not good enough, that you're not cut out for it, right? And if you have that belief, I would bet that you're not going to take action to actually become a starter. You're probably going to hold back at practice a little bit. You probably won't train as hard on your own. You're going to act like you don't deserve to be a starter. Okay. And the same thing works on the positive. So the positive thoughts leads to positive beliefs, leads to positive actions. Like if you really believe in your heart and in your body that you're going to go play for UCLA, then you will probably take action to actually achieve that. Not saying you will, but you'll take the action to make it happen. Okay. If you don't believe you'll play for UCLA, you probably won't do what it takes to get there. Okay. So thoughts, beliefs, actions. I just want to make sure you guys understand that first. And then this kind of little quote here, right, is you must learn a new way to think before you can master a new way to be. So you can't do something new or be a whole new, greater version of yourself if you first don't change what's going on up here in your noggin. Okay. So how do we do that? Right? It's a lot easier said than done. But one of the exercises that I personally use that I teach all my girls, and a lot of you have probably heard of this. Okay. And that is affirmations. Okay. So affirmations, let's see here. How many of you know what affirmations are? Just raise your hand if you know what affirmations are. Let's see. We got a couple people. Okay, so we got a couple people that know what they are. Okay, so let me put this back up here. Okay, we can all see the screen again, yes? Okay, so as you guys can see, these are just some super basic examples that I pulled from the internet, but it's basically an I am statement. I am amazing. I am confident. I am going to play for UCLA. I am going to be on the national team. And you know what's even more powerful is instead of saying I am going to, your affirmation could be I play for UCLA. I am a starter on my team. Even if it's not true yet, if you say your affirmation as if it's already happening, it's even more powerful. Okay, and you don't have to believe your affirmation at first, right? Because if you let's look at this one where it says I am smart. If you really are struggling and you think you're not smart and you say I am smart, you're not automatically going to think that you're smart. It's going to take time. Okay, just like learning how to juggle a ball. I raise your hand if the first time you ever picked up a ball to juggle, you hit 1,000 juggles. Nobody, right? So same thing here. If you write it once, twice, 3 times, 4 times, maybe for a week, it's not really going to do a whole heck of good. You've got to be really consistent in this. Everything we're going to talk about today, you have to be consistent. The more you do it, the better it works. Okay. So these are all examples of affirmations. So I want you guys to let's do some affirmations right now. Okay. I want everyone to type in the chat box one affirmation. Okay. There's no right or wrong way to do this. Let's see them. So one affirmation could be soccer related or just life related, school related, whatever. I'm strong. I'm good at soccer. I'm talented. Brave, loving. Oh, I love the brave ones. Those are awesome. Ooh, Avery, I'm capable. Strong, strong, strong. Good. Positive. Good. I'm confident. I love these guys. Cool. Yeah, keep them coming. Keep them coming. I am determined. I am hardworking. Beautiful. Good stuff. So, was that very hard to do? How long did it take you guys? 10 seconds, maybe? Right? 10 seconds, right? So what I want you guys to do, if you got a notebook out, your first action item, is to write 1 to 3 affirmations every single morning before you go to school, whatever, like first thing when you wake up. Okay, so that's one of the first things I do too, is I write affirmations. Okay, so you can do the same one for a while if you really feel like you need to work on that. You can change it up every single day. You guys can, like I said, there's no right or wrong way to do it. Okay, it can be even your very big goal. So if you want to play for the national team, say I play for the national team and I freaking love my life. That could be an affirmation. Okay, so you're kind of speaking it into existence. So step 1 is write it down. Step 2 is to read it. Step 3 is to say it out loud. Okay, write it, read it, say it. When we actually say things out loud, it's like, I don't know the exact number, but it's like 10 times more powerful when you say it out loud, even on the negative side. Okay, so say it out loud. You don't need to like get a megaphone and stand on your roof and shout it to your neighbors. But if you just read it in your room to yourself and say it with confidence, when you say it, like pretend like you mean it, even if you don't mean it. Okay, thumbs up if we feel good about affirmations and the thoughts. Good, good, good. And yeah, the more you guys do these affirmations, I promise you, your thoughts will start to change a little bit. It's going to take time though. Okay, let's get back to number 2. All right, number 2 here is to focus on the positives more than the negatives. Okay, so as human beings, we are way better at focusing on the negative than the positive. That's just how we are. We are that way so that we can survive. Because back when we weren't here when dinosaurs, but back when we lived with the tigers and all that kind of stuff, and there was all that around, if we didn't worry about the negative, we were going to be lunch. We were going to be someone's lunch. So we have to focus on the negative to protect ourselves. But we live in a world now where we don't really need to worry about getting gobbled up by a lion, right? We don't. So we need to, as humans, we're wired to focus more on the negative for survival, but that doesn't really serve us anymore in our modern age. Okay. So we have to work a lot harder at thinking of the positive than the negatives, because the negatives are they just kind of pop out. The positive, we actually have to take some time and think about it. Right. So by doing this, you're going to start to shift your mindset a little bit around the world is scary, the world is bad, I suck, to the world is awesome, I'm awesome, there's so much positivity, right? Because there's a lot of negativity in today's world. And so it can be hard to be positive if you're watching the news and you're seeing all this crap going on. So by doing this, not only are you changing how you perceive the world, but you're changing how you perceive your own success. Okay, so every day, what I want you to do is I want you to pull out the good instead of obsessing about the bad. Okay, so what this looks like is I call them daily wins. Okay, they're called daily wins. So every night, okay, this is going to be at nighttime before you lay your head on the pillow. I want you to ask yourself, what are 3 things that went well today? What are 3 things I'm proud of that I did today? Okay, and you can also use these for practices or for games. So after a practice, say, what are 3 things I did well at today's practice? What are 3 things I'm proud of that I did at today's game? Because I guarantee you, even if it was a horrible day or a horrible game or practice, there's probably a lot of positive that you can pull out of it if you think about it, right? So what are 3 things that went well? And it doesn't have to be big. It can literally be that I woke up and I made my bed today. Okay, it can be that I had good communication at practice. It can be that I had a good conversation with a friend. It doesn't have to be this massive, massive win. Yes? Okay, so I want everyone to think, it's like what? It's 5 o'clock where you guys are. It's 5 o'clock, so you guys have had your whole day. So I want everyone to write down, put in the chat box, what's one win from today? It can be soccer related, school related, whatever. One win. There we go. That's a good example. I got all my work done in school. Let's keep them coming. Went on a run. Good. Beat people in soccer at recess. Did an arm workout. Went on a walk. Got through school today. Yep. Had a good recess. Took my dog for a walk. There we go. Yeah, it doesn't have to be anything crazy, right, guys? Because sometimes we forget about these little good things that happened. And even if it was like a lot of times if one bad thing happens in our day and someone's like, how was your day? You're like, oh my gosh, my day was horrible. Just because one bad thing happened, right? But that wasn't a bad day. It was just a bad moment. So when you really look back on what actually happened, you're like, oh, you know what? I actually did a lot today. Wow, I'm proud of myself. Today was actually a pretty good day. And that way, when you go to sleep, you're more in positivity mode as opposed to negativity mode. Okay. So every night, 3 wins. Okay. That's your homework. Cool. All right. Those wins look good. All right. Let's get to the last one, guys. And then we will do some questions. All right. Wins are done. Number 3 is change how you prepare for competition. Okay, change how you prepare for competition. So pre-games, okay, we're going to focus on visualization, but in this would be a pre-game routine. Okay, it'd be managing those nerves and that stress. But like I said, we're going to focus on visualization today. And think about it. Until you're mentally ready and you're locked in, you will never totally be physically prepared. Right? Like, think about it. Raise your hand if you would ever play a full game, if your coach would ever let you play a game without warming up. Raise your hand if your coach would let you do that. Hello, anybody there? No, nobody, right? But how many of us play a game without mentally preparing? I'm guilty of it for sure, right? So I want you guys to think about that a little bit differently too. We warm up physically, So why don't we warm up mentally as well? Yeah. So visualization, I'm going to walk you guys through like super, super simple 3-step process. And first, actually raise your hand. I'm going to make you guys big. Raise your hand if you've tried visualizing before. So I have an idea. Okay, we got, oh, nice. Okay, cool. So some of this might be a review for some of you guys, maybe a little bit new information. But what we're going to go through is like super simple today. I'll show you guys how you can learn more. And by the way, you do not have to look like this girl on here when you visualize. I just thought that was a decent picture. Okay. You don't have to look like her. You don't got to fold your arms and do that. But three parts of visualization that I want you to focus on. Okay. Number one is you're going to focus on the pregame. Okay. So first off, what is visualization? Put simply, it's just you imagining yourself playing your game. Okay. You're closing your eyes and you're making it into a movie. You're visualizing what it looks like. Okay. So you're going to visualize the pregame. Yes, that means the warm up, but that also means before the warm up. As soon as you get to the field, what do you see? What do you hear? What do you taste? What do you smell? What do you feel? 5 senses. I want you to start with your 5 senses. Okay. Notice those things. Notice those little things. Because when you start with your 5 senses, it makes it like real. It makes it like color 3D as opposed to like a black and white movie. Okay. So start with your 5 senses. Okay. That's part of the pregame. Go through your warm-ups. Okay. What does your warm-up look like? And then in game, you're obviously going to visualize what does it look like in my game? Visualize very specific plays, both offensively and defensively. What kind of runs are you making? What kind of shots are you taking? What kind of moves are you doing? What does your defense look like? Are you winning balls out of the air? Are you making hard tackles? Okay, what is your position? And find those things that you want to do and visualize those things. If you're terrified of going 1v1, visualize yourself going 1v1 and breaking someone's ankles. If you're a goalkeeper, visualize yourself coming out of your box, making a great diving save. Okay, visualize the end game as detailed as possible. Okay. And then number 3 is you're going to visualize the post game. So after the game, I don't want you to focus on the score because you can't control that, but I want you to focus on how you feel after your game. Like I want you to visualize you feeling so proud of yourself. Like, man, that was the best game I've ever played. Like visualize the feeling that you get when you played the best game. Are your teammates coming up to you, giving you a high five or one of these elbow bumps right now? Is your coach telling you good job? Is the crowd clapping for you? Like, what does that look like? Okay. And just kind of visualize the feeling and try to feel the feeling in your body as you're doing it. Okay. And so with visualization, guys, sometimes it's really hard. Sometimes your mind's going to be thinking about a million different things. So there's times when I do it where I'm really good at it and times where I'm not very good at it, but I do it anyways. Right. So the more you do it, the better you'll get at it, the more real it will seem, and actually the more effective it'll actually be. Okay. And there's been lots of studies that will prove that number one, it makes you more confident. It helps calm nerves and it actually helps you perform better. I'm not just making that up. There's lots of studies out there that will show that it actually helps you perform better. So this is a great idea if anyone has any injuries too. Visualization is a great way to continue to improve while you can't physically be doing stuff. Okay. So any questions on those 3 things specifically? I got a few more things and then we'll really open it up. Okay. So before we do question and answer, because I want to save as much time for that as we can, I'm going to just show you guys a few things where if you want to learn more, I got some good resources for you guys. Some of my stuff that you guys can check out. So the first thing is my text. It's called the Daily Confidence. And it's where I send out text messages to players with confidence strategies, motivation strategies, mindset tips, all that kind of stuff that'll help you be more confident. So you guys can learn more about that if you just text this right here. Text the word confident to this is my number. I'll respond to you. Okay, so if you want to take a screenshot of this page, you can do it. This it costs $4.99 per month, $4.99 per month. So obviously if you could show your parents this, but screenshot this page. It's really, really cool. As you can see, these girls that I've talked to. And then the other thing is my book. So I don't know if you guys knew, but I have a book. It's called She the Confident. So you can go buy it on Amazon. I think I might have it. No, it's in my bookshelf. But it's a really good book. I've had 10-year-olds read it. I've had college teams read it. So no matter what age you are, it's a really awesome read. You can read it pretty quickly. You can just find it on Amazon. Just type She the Confident. Okay, so that's another resource for you guys. And then the last resource is my podcast. So if you guys are podcast listeners, you can find it on Spotify, on iTunes, or if you guys go to my website, you can find it there too, which I can drop the link for my website here soon. But it's called the Alpha Girl Confidence Podcast. So you guys can search that as well. Okay, so the text thing, again, if you need the number, it's right here, 844-928-3192. Text the word confident. And by the way, when you text this number, it just gives you a link so you can learn more. So you guys you can text it and you don't have to sign up if you text it. There we go. Book podcast. Cool. Let's do some questions. All right, cool guys. All right, let's open it up. We got some time, at least 10 minutes. So if you guys have a question, if you guys just want to like you guys know how to raise the little hand. If you want to raise your little reaction hand like that, and then I'll call on you guys and I'll have you guys ask your question out loud so I can say what's up. Who's going to be the first one? Yay, my mom just ordered your book. Thanks, Lily and Molly. Hope you guys like it. Who's got the first question, guys? It's always the hard the first question. Any hands? Oh, Sydney. There we go.
Did you start doing this stuff because you were not as confident as you could have been?
Yes, absolutely. Right. So like the beginning of my story, I was really, really struggling with my confidence, and I didn't have there wasn't books out there really. There wasn't podcasts. There wasn't really anything or anyone to help me with it. And so I just really struggled with it, literally from 13 till like 20 years old, 7 years. It took me 7 years to figure out how to be more confident. So yes, that's why I do it, because I don't want you guys to have to go 7 years feeling the way I did. I want to be there to support you guys so that you guys can, yes, become more confident soccer players, but more importantly, so you can become confident human beings, because that's the most important thing. No matter what you're doing, for you to be confident. So yeah, that's why I do it. Good question, Sydney. Taya.
How long have you been doing this? Talking to people about it?
Yeah, so I actually first started just doing soccer training stuff, and then I started doing confidence training back in the summer of 2019 is when I first started it. I started doing kind of workshops in person, and then I started doing online coaching with girls kind of like this and with teams. So yeah, I've been doing it for about 1.5 years, and I love it. Yep. Especially these kind of calls are my favorite. What other questions, guys? Let's get a few more. I could lower my hand, I guess. And coaches too, if there's coaches on here that have questions, or parents or whatever. You guys can ask me anything. It doesn't just have to be about confidence. It can be about college, whatever. All right, we got some hands. Shelton.
Was there somebody who really inspired you to do this, or was it all you?
Not really. So I guess there was someone a little bit that inspired me to first start my all girls soccer training, because I grew up playing for an all girls club called Utah Avalanche. So my coach, her name's Jo, she started that club, and she was all about girls and women's empowerment and stuff like that. So I would say she inspired me to first work with girls only, because I only work with girls. Like I don't work with any boys, although the information's still great, but I don't work with boys. So I'd say she was probably my biggest inspiration, and she was my club coach my last like 2 years in club. So about age 16 and 17. Yeah, it's a good question. Thanks, girl. Let's see. I'm going to pull this up so I can see in order. Andrea. You're muted, girl. Should we come back? Okay, you're good. You're good. We'll wait for you to unmute yourself. There we go.
Has famous texted your number?
Say what?
Has anyone famous texted your number?
No, not that I'm aware of. Not yet. So if you know any famous people, tell them to text me and then I'll say yes. But no, I don't think anyone famous has texted my number. Unless any of you are famous and you want to text me, that'd be cool. Even if you're not famous, text me. Yeah. Julie Ertz has not texted me, I'll have to say. Let's see. Liv?
What do colleges look for in girl players?
Oh man, I mean, there's a lot of things. But I'm going to focus on the things that you wouldn't always hear. So obviously they're looking for very highly skilled, quick, like good soccer players in general, right? But you guys already know that. So what I would say that they look for that you may not necessarily think about is they look at your body language on the field. They can tell if you're committed. They can tell if you're hardworking. They can tell if you're confident by your body language, how you communicate with other people. So that's on the field with your teammates. That's also off the field. If you're a little bit bratty or snotty to your parents or your coaches, that coach probably isn't going to want you, because the coach is going to bring you on for 4 years. So they want a player that they actually enjoy being around. So in addition to the soccer part, they really look for players that are like really good people, really good students, and will make their program better, right? If you're going to be kind of like, oh, I don't know if they're the greatest person, they're probably not going to recruit you. So if you guys have a social media, college coaches are all over that. So if you have social media, make sure that it represents you in a positive light. So those are a few things I would say, kind of like aside from just being a great soccer player, those are some really important things college coaches look for. That's a great question. Let's see, who's next? Christy.
Did you have any friends to help you get through your confidence?
Wow, I've actually never been asked that question before. So good question. You know what? I had one best friend. We were friends from the age we were 5 until this very day, best friends, played on every team together. So I would say her, but I think I was embarrassed of it when I was your guys' age because it wasn't something that was talked about. I thought that I was the only one. So I didn't really confide in anybody, even my parents. Like I didn't really tell anybody that I was struggling with it, which is part of why I do what I do, to help you guys realize that there's a lot of people out there struggling with it too. And it's not something bad, and it's not something to be ashamed of or embarrassed about. But if I would have had friends, it would have been a heck of a lot easier. I did have friends, but I was too scared to tell them, I guess. So lesson there is, if you guys are struggling, there's probably someone out there struggling too. So find someone to talk to about, whether it's a parent, friend, sibling, teacher, coach. Just find someone, because problems that sit here, they stay here. So yeah, that's a really good question. Thanks for asking that.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Let's see, Avery.
Yeah. Even with recruitment, like how do you like pick colleges? Like I feel like it's a really hard decision. So do you have advice on that?
Yes. So there's a lot of things to look at. So I can actually send you guys a resource, because I know a lot about it, but I'm not the expert on college recruiting. So I can send you guys this really cool resource where it'll kind of like ask you all of the questions as far as what, like geographically, what climate do you want to play in? Do you want to play for a school that's really cold, or do you want to go to Arizona? Right. So like physically, where do you want to be? Right? How much playing time do you want? Do you want to sit the bench? Great. Then UCLA might be a good fit for you your first year, right? Do you want to play a lot? Then maybe UCLA isn't the best option for you. So climate, how much playing time do you want to start out as a freshman? Also looking at the coaches themselves. Do you like the coaches as people? Because they're going to basically be your adopted parents for the next 4 years. Okay, so coaches, and then the academic programs. Does the school have what you want to study? If you want to study electrical engineering and they don't have that, well, you probably shouldn't go to that school either. So making sure they have the right academics, making sure that, is it in a city or is it in kind of the middle of nowhere? Do you want to be in a big city where it's crowded, or do you want to be in a small college town? Another thing to think about is, what is the campus life like? Do you want to go to a school that's like parties a lot and they have a really what's the word I'm looking for? I don't know, vibracious? I don't think that's a word. But whatever, a really, I don't know, like fun campus life. Do you want something like that? Or do you want a school that's a little bit more conservative, I guess, if you will? So there's a bunch of things. Vivid's a good word. But Joseph, what I can do is I can send you like a link to, it's just like kind of a thing that they can look at as far as the college thing. But yeah, good question. Does that help, Avery?
Yeah, a lot. Thanks.
Yeah, you're welcome. Let's see, who is next? I think Sydney was next.
Is it hard in college maintaining like good grades in school and also being on the soccer field without your parents?
Yes, it's hard, but if you are disciplined and if you have good habits, it's not as hard as it can be. So also the big thing is communication. If you're really good at communicating with your teachers, like, hey, I'm going to be out of town and I'm going to miss a test. If you don't communicate, you're really going to struggle, right? But as a student athlete, you have a lot of resources to help you. You have like a whole bunch of people that help you just with your academics that other people don't get. You have your coaches that are helping you. So you have a lot of resources, but it just takes practice. The first year, you're probably gonna be all over the place. Like, oh my gosh, how am I juggling all of this? But as you get to your sophomore, junior, senior year, you kind of learn how to manage it all and learn how to kind of prioritize school, soccer, social life, or however you want to prioritize it. But that's probably how it should go, right? So kind of figuring out what's important to me and how do I make time for it. So yeah, great question. Sage Lynn.
Have you ever like gotten down like while you're playing, like something happened, like you made a mistake and then you just get like a low point? And how do you come back from that?
Yes, girl, all the time. All the time. One little mistake, right? I remember like, and this like, I don't know why I remember this, such a silly thing, but like I played center midfield. So making a square pass that gets picked off, horrible decision, they go score, right? So like, I remember plenty of times, but yes, I got down on myself, which was one of my biggest issues. After I'd make the mistake, I would totally just shut down and I would think about it and I wouldn't play very well from that point on. So a few ways to kind of reset after that is, number one, kind of like after we make a mistake, what do we do with our bodies a lot of times? What do you guys do with your body when you make a mistake? Shoulders go here, head goes here, or head goes here, right? So making sure your body language, because if your body language is here, even if I do this, I'm never going to be confident if my body language is like this. So fixing your body language to kind of like reset yourself. Okay, these are very simple and you might think, oh, that's not going to work, but it works. Another thing is taking a deep breath. It's okay, kind of shake it off. Okay. And then the last thing is say an affirmation, right? So after you make a mistake, and instead of thinking, oh, you suck, why'd you do that? Right? You say, you got the next play, keep going. I believe in you. Like say an affirmation that helps you get out of the negative like spiral and kind of thinking about the next play. Okay. So kind of, again, reset your body language, take a deep breath. You can literally shake it out and then say an affirmation. And you can do that on a throw-in. You don't have to do it right away because obviously you lose the ball, get the ball back first. But those are things you can do to kind of reset and get yourself in a new frame of mind. Does that help?
Yes.
Okay, cool. Good question. Avery, or wait, I already called on you, Avery, right? Berlin.
When you were losing your confidence, did you ever think of switching to a different sport and trying over again?
Well, so I grew up playing soccer and basketball. I quit basketball when I was in high school just because it wouldn't work. But no, I never thought of quitting soccer to play another sport necessarily. I think I was just so over not feeling confident. And I wasn't confident in basketball either. But I think I was just so over it that I just wanted to be a normal kid. I was sick of the pressure, sick of, hey, you got to go play college, sick of practicing all the time. And I just kind of wanted to be a normal kid. But then I knew if I quit that I wouldn't achieve my ultimate goal. And I thank my lucky stars every single day that I stuck it out. And I also am glad that I struggled with my confidence, because had I not, I wouldn't be here talking to you guys. So I hope that kind of answers your question a little bit. Yeah. Taya.
What do you have to like play Division I soccer? Like, what skills do you have to have, or like, do you have to be like really fast, or can you just have like good skills and just see the field good? Or
I mean, the skills required for Division 1, 2, 3, and AIA, they're all the same in a sense, but Division 1, you got to play a lot faster. And by that, I don't mean you have to be fast. Okay. Because I was slow as dirt, guys. After I got hurt, I was slow, but I just had to change the way I played. So instead of being fast, I had to just think smarter. I had to be in the right position. I had to really like anticipate the play. So yes, you have to be skilled, but more than that, guys, because I think there's a lot of really skilled players out there who can play Division 1. I think it's more of your mentality. Division 1 is hard. It's very hard. There's a lot of pressure. There's a lot of anxiety. There's a lot of work. And so I think it's not so much of a skill thing as it is a mental thing. Like, you have to be willing to put in the work. You have to be able to deal with pain. And pain, when I say pain, I mean all the conditioning they put you through. You have to be able to deal with being busy all the time. You have to be able to deal with getting yelled at by your coaches. So it's more of a mental thing than it is a physical thing. Does that help? I know that's maybe not the answer you were hoping for, like check off the box, right? It's not as simple as that, I guess. Yeah. Because you could say that take two players, they have the same exact skill level, but one might have the right mindset for Division 1 and one may not. So I think kind of that's what it comes down to. Sydney, and then I'll get your question, Joseph.
I was just wondering, like, what you do now. Do you still play soccer, or do you like train people?
Yeah, so I don't play anymore just because 3 knee surgeries and a bad back. My body didn't want to play anymore. And I didn't really want to play anymore, to tell you the truth. So no, I don't play anymore. I coach. So I did have like a whole academy where I trained a ton of girls. I don't really do that anymore because I focus solely on confidence, but I do train a couple girls a couple times a week. So yeah, I used to coach a club team. I coached at a college. So I did all that, but I prefer this much more. And there's not as many people doing it. So yeah. I still love coaching, but I love this more. Yeah. So if anyone wants to play pickup with me, let me know. I'll come play pickup. I'm a little rusty though. Sorry, I'll get yours last, Joseph, I guess. Sydney. Oh wait, I just called on you, Sydney. Sorry. Shelton.
I know we've talked a lot about like what we're expecting for college, but I know some of us are going to high school next year. Is there anything different that we should be like focusing on for high school?
You guys are probably not going to expect me to say the first thing, but the first thing is surround yourself with good people. If you have horrible friends that get into trouble and hold you back, they're going to hold you back. So number 1 is find a solid group of friends that supports you in your goals, that's positive, and that also has big goals. Like, they don't have to be the same as you. You don't have to play soccer and all that, but surround yourself with people that are going to make you better. because it can be really easy in high school to get wrapped up with drama and get wrapped up with the wrong people. And that can totally take you down a different path. So that would be one thing. And then really in high school is learning to take responsibility for your own time, for your own success, for your own development. Stop relying on mom and dad to do everything for you. Because if you do, and then you get into college, you're going to get in trouble. So use high school as kind of a warm up to college. So don't rely on anyone else to tell you when your assignments are due. So learn how to manage your time, hang out with good people. And then I'll say last is take care of your health. And by health, I mean physical health, right? So you might have lots of practices and you eat like crap. So take care of that. And also take care of your mental health. High school can be hard. I think middle school is harder, to tell you the truth. But it can be hard with all of the things you got going on. So that's a part of why I said surround yourself with good people, because that's important for mental health. So hope that helps. Yes? Okay, cool. Let's see, Ava and then Andrea.
Did you ever struggle with like anxiety outside of soccer?
Yes, that was really quiet, so I'll repeat it. Did I ever struggle with anxiety outside of soccer? Absolutely. I don't always include this in my story because then my story would be too long. Yes, so I really struggled with it. It was probably the hardest thing I've ever dealt with in my life was anxiety. And it's something I dealt with from a very young age, all the way until honestly, probably the hardest time of my life ever with anxiety was last winter. So not this like 2020, but 2019 winter was horrible. I was stuck in this perpetual anxiety. Like I've just struggled with it my whole life. I've gone to therapy. I've been on medication. And I think that's also part of why I do what I do, because a lot of the girls I work with also struggle with anxiety. And I would say as of the last year, I feel like I finally, for once in my life, have it like under control. So it's something that's taken me a long time to kind of master, but a lot of it is kind of my thoughts. So that's why I put thoughts as number one today, because your thoughts control a lot, guys. And me changing my thoughts is what helped me with my anxiety the most. So yeah. So if you struggle with anxiety, guys, talk to someone. Don't be ashamed. It's normal. It's very normal. So talk to somebody, whether it's a parent, friend, therapist. Like don't keep it in. That's the worst thing you can do. So that's what I'll say about anxiety. Let's see. That was that Ava who just asked? Okay. Andrea.
What does a day of an athlete look like in college?
Okay. I was thinking that was what Joseph asked. Okay. Yeah. So I'm going to go in season. Okay. In season, because in season looks different than off season. So usually you'll, let's say you got just a normal practice day. So you, like for me, and it'll look different for everyone, but it was going to class from about 8 a.m. to about 1 o'clock. So maybe 3 or 4 classes. Hurry and go eat some lunch. Go to the training room to get iced or taped, well, not iced, but taped or heat or whatever you need because you're maybe have some injuries going on. And then get ready for practice. And then you got practice for about 2 hours. And then right after practice, you got to go to study hall, especially if you're younger or if you have bad grades. You have to go to study hall and get a certain amount of hours. And then you go home, you go to sleep, you go to bed. That's what a typical like weekday. Game day would look a little bit different. You'd probably have to get out of class early. Your game day is long, probably 4 hours because you got pregame, you got warm-ups, you got your game. So it's like a 4-hour ordeal. So that's kind of what a game day would look like. And then off season, I hated off season. And here's why. Wake up at 5 a.m. in Logan, Utah, which is about -20. I woke up when it was -20 one time. So wake up at 5 a.m., either go run sprints or go strength train at 5 a.m. and then go straight to class. Try not to fall asleep in class. Go to class for a couple hours, come home, take a nap. And then you might have practice again, or you might have film, or you might have another lifting session, study hall, so kind of stuff like that. So, and like I said, every school is going to be different, but that was just my experience with kind of like what my day looked like. So it's busy. And I planned my day around when I could nap. And I never nap now, but it was like, okay, I just woke up. When can I get my nap in? So lots of napping. Yeah. So yeah, that answered your question too, Joseph. Beautiful. All right, guys. Well, that was freaking awesome. Like, seriously, I had so much fun. So thank you all for coming on. Before you guys go, if you could just let me know in the chat box, like, what was the number one takeaway that you got out of today's call? Like, what's the number one thing that you're going to use, or the most important thing you learned that can help you to become more confident? Let's hear it. And then as you're typing, like, if you guys have Instagram too, you can always find me on Instagram at Shay Haddow or at Alpha Girl Confidence. And feel free to like slide in my DMs if you guys have questions. Any questions, that's the best place to ask me, Instagram or Twitter. So you can find me there. Cool. Thoughts, belief, actions. Yeah, that's powerful. Thoughts, calm myself down, anxiety, thoughts. Yes, good stuff. Yep, guys, remember affirmations in the morning, wins at night, and visualize before every game. You can do before practices too, but visualize before every game. So those are your 3 actions. There we go. Awesome, guys. So Joseph, I will send you the recording for this as soon as it's processed. But yeah, if you guys ever need anything, find me on social media. I'm here for you guys. Thank you again so much for letting me come on, and hopefully we can do it again someday soon. See you guys.
Awesome. Thank you, Shay, so much.
You're
Shay, can you
welcome.
stick around just for a few minutes
Yeah,
after?
absolutely. Yep.
Okay, cool.
I'll
Thank you,
stop.
ladies.
I'll stop.